Okay, so thank you, Laura, for the invitation, and also to the Women in Ocean Science organization, and also to the participants to be here in this workshop this afternoon. It's a bit late, I think, for everyone, so hopefully we learn a lot in the next hour. So basically, this workshop is about European grants and some tips for successful proposal writing. So the agenda, I think you all know. Basically, I want to know a bit more about you, about your knowledge writing proposals. So we will do a quick survey. Then I believe it's quite important to understand the European context. We all work in marine science and blue economy. So basically, we need to understand where the funds, where the money come from. And that's why I will give kind of information about to understand the European blue economy context. Then I will briefly, because there are many projects from the European Commission, many programs of funding, but I will focus on the research and related to marine science, as well as other funding opportunities. Then we will comment on the proposal writing. We can go through questions and answers. By the end, of just write it in the chat, as you prefer. So basically, who I am, I think Laura explained it quite a lot. So basically, my background is in marine science, but even I scuba dive and I also free dive. I always say that I'm an oceanographer at the office. I got 2 masters, and one of them is basically on European projects and funding opportunities for research. I got more than 10 years of experience on blue economy, European projects, and preparation of proposals. I'm also an evaluator for the European Commission, which I learn a lot, evaluating proposals, and this is always a good exercise for any professional, to be part of these experts of the European Commission. And finally, I'm also the founder of Blue Jobs. I'm just going to briefly introduce Blue Jobs because I think it could be interesting for this audience. Basically, it's the online platform to find a job in marine science and the sustainable blue economy sectors. So basically, for job seekers, we provide this database of jobs that they can apply, and we also provide career guidance. So we have a blog where we publish many posts for interesting funding goals or grants or tips to improve the CV or any type of career tips that can help job seekers to find a job. And for employers, for the institutions, we do provide them with this database of experts so they can find the perfect candidate, and we also do some recruitment support. For other organizations, we help them also to give visibility to the services, or for example, if they are organizing a conference or they open a new master and they want to get some students, so we help them to give more visibility to these services. So if you are looking for a job, I will recommend you to have a look at Blue Jobs and upload your CV. Now I would like to know a bit more about you. Basically, what is your experience on proposal writing? So if you can scan the QR or just go to slido.com and just insert this code. So let me. Okay, so there are only 3 questions, so it's quite simple. The first question is, where do you come from, the country? I don't know if you have managed to scan the QR. India, Spain, Germany. Albania, but live in Spain. That's good. England, Nicaragua. Okay. France. Okay, perfect. Then, what is your level of experience? Whether you are an undergraduate student or you have some experience, you are doing now your master. Okay, so we have some juniors, some more seniors. Okay, perfect. Okay, that's perfect. And the last question is, how familiar are you with writing grant proposals? Maybe you don't have idea, or you have written some of them, but you don't have any success, or you have experience writing proposals. Okay, so mix. Okay, that's perfect. Thank you so much. So I can adapt a bit the presentation for you. I see that so the aims of this workshop is to learn more about the European funding opportunities and also other opportunities in research, marine science, and blue economy. I see that there are some people that are not from Europe. The writing tips can serve for anyone, that's for sure, for any country and any type of program. Maybe the first part that is focused more on European Commission, maybe you are not that interested in that part, so I will go through that a bit quicker, and we will focus on the writing part. So the second objective is learn the basic steps to write a proposal, because in 1 hour it's impossible to go through in detail methodology to write proposal, but just at least the basic steps. Then to improve writing your skills and learn how to think as you are the evaluator that is going to evaluate your proposal rather than the grant holder, right? Okay, so starting with the steps for writing proposals, I will focus on, firstly, understanding the context and the regulatory framework. So as I said before, it's important to understand where the money comes from, why they are investing or they are funding some type of projects, right? Then how to search for grants, and then some writing proposal tips. So starting from the beginning, I'm just kind of explain a bit of the blue economy context. So I will start from global to local. So from global, we need to understand, as I say, where the funds come from, why they are investing in research, how your project is aligned with the global and European, or in your country, in Indian objectives, right? So at global level, we have, as you know, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. We have another regulatory frameworks like the International Maritime Organization. For the Sustainable Development Goals, we have the goal 14, which is mainly focused on the ocean conservation and the marine resources. So basically, if you are, for example, preparing a proposal on, let's say, ocean acidification, in your proposal, you need to prove that your project is going to be aligned with this SDG 14 and the target 14.3, for example. So it's important that you justify why your project is important. Then at European level, we have some strategies and then some directives, laws. No? So basically for the strategies, we have the Green Deal. You know, I guess you have heard about this. So basically how to transform the whole economy in a more sustainable way, efficient way, with using renewable energy, circular economy approach, etc. We have also the emissions. So basically the emissions, this is something new in the European Commission. The emissions were born because they are challenges that needs to be tackled right now. So there is one mission, for example, for cancer, and another mission for ocean, to restore the oceans. So it's very important that your project is going to be aligned with all of these strategies. I put some examples here. So for example, the colleague from France, if they are preparing a proposal, a project in the Atlantic side of France, you should look at the Atlantic Action Plan and try to link your project to this strategy, Sea-basing strategy, what is called. Then we have at European level, we have the directives. So basically the directives are the laws. We have the maritime spatial planning, the common fisheries policy, birds, marine strategy, quite a lot of laws that then they are transposing to the national laws. And you need to be aware also of this regulatory framework on the topic that your proposal or your research is based on, right? Then we have at national level. So national level, we have blue economy strategies. We have, for example, in Spain, we have what is called the maritime spatial planning that is divided into different regions. So this is basically the most important regulatory framework on maritime spatial planning in Spain. So you need to be aware of these strategies. Then if you work in the offshore sector, you need to know that there is a roadmap on offshore wind that you need to follow. I put some examples here. In Portugal, you have the blue economy strategy. In France, the same. Italy and some other countries have their national blue economy strategy, where they define the objectives, the topics, and the sectors that they are more interested in the blue economy industry, right? And then you have the local umbrella. So basically, for example, in this case, we were studying a species of shrimp that there are only in one part of Spain. And they create the local administrative government, they create a regional or local law to protect this species. So basically, if you are working on fisheries or any other local aspects, you need to know also the regulatory framework of that. So basically, this is for you to understand where the funding comes from, what is going on at global, European, national, and local level. Then you will start searching for grant opportunities. I focus here in the European funding, national and private, but there are many. There are other opportunities like prizes, grants. If you are I understood that most of you are researchers, but for example, if you are a consultant, a freelance consultant, or an expert in a specific thematic, you may be interested in tenders for calls for individuals rather than a research project. So I will focus on these three ones, but you need to know that there are a lot of opportunities. Okay, so starting for European funding, I focus more on the research part. Okay, so you need to know that there is one European funding and tenders portal, that this is the website for everything. No? Everything is included here for funding, tenders, experts, etc. No? So this is important that you look. There are many guidelines and that you get to know this website, which at the same time can be a bit overwhelming because there are more than 40 programs at the European Commission. No? So I did a whole master 1 year just to go through this. So it's a bit, because every program has sub-programs, sub-goals, and so it's a bit complex, but there are guidelines for this one. And you need also to check that there are different different programs funding different things. So there are programs funding researchers, individual researchers, other programs funds institutions, structures, laboratories. Another type of financing program is for SMEs, another for consortiums. So before you start looking at that, I will recommend to you to check the guidelines. So I put it here, a few ones. I highlighted the ones that they are more focusing on blue economy. So we have the European Maritime Fisheries and Aquaculture Fund, which is not only about fisheries and aquaculture, it's about also maritime spatial planning or green shipping. So this is a quite important one. We have then the Erasmus program that you may be familiar, or have you heard about that? We have the LIFE program on environment and climate change. And then we have the Horizon Europe. So let me just focus on this one. So Horizon Europe is the most ambitious program at the EU level for research and innovation. So it's around 100 billion of euros invested in basically create jobs, improve the scientific and technological base of the European Commission, European Union. So in this graph, this is Horizon Europe. It is quite complex. I'm going to focus only in pillar 1, which is the excellent science, because I guess most of you are from the research part. So within this pillar 1, there are 3 kind of programs that I'm going to briefly introduce you. So the first one is the grants that they are funded by the European Research Council. So these grants are open to researchers from all over the world for individual projects, but projects of a long duration in any type of thematic. It's not only for marine science, this is for all type of thematics. And basically the criteria to get the fund is based on your scientific excellence, basically in the proposal that you submit in your project and your CV. Then it's evaluated by prestigious researchers. So it is quite difficult to get, to be honest. There are many researchers that apply a few times until they get the funding. So there are more, but I put it here only three types of grants. So the first one is for earlier career professional researchers that have from 2 to 7 years experience after the PhD and at least have one important publication done. I guess from the survey that we did, I guess most of you are in this part. Then the consolidator grants are up to 2 million of funding. This is for people, researchers that have more experience from 7 to 12 years after the PhD, and they need to have several publications. And then the advanced grants, which are just for more experienced researchers. So that will be the grants from the European Research Council that, as you see, that is not only for European citizens. Then we have the Marie Curie actions that maybe you have heard about them as well. So Marie Curie actions, they have 5 types of funding opportunities. I'm just going to go through them very quickly. So the first one is so this one is for the universities to apply as a researcher, main researchers, okay? But it's the university who applies for that. So in the first one, the doctoral networks is to set up doctoral programs. So it's the university who applies for this kind of funding to set up doctoral programs. Okay. This one is similar, but is for postdoctoral fellowships. So it's after the PhD. There are different ones from researchers from Europe, or to do an exchange outside Europe, or exchanges, different exchanges from researchers. There is another one specific for exchanges of researchers within Europe and outside Europe. And there is this Marie Curie Actions co-fund. Basically, this one is if your national government is funding some program for research, so this co-fund complement and put more money in this kind of research. And then we have the third one under Pillar 1 of Horizon Europe, which is about research infrastructure. So I didn't put more information about this one, but it's interesting for you to know, because if you work at university and you want to funds to buy an oceanographic vessel, or you need to improve your labs, or any type of facility for aquaculture, or I don't know, you will need to apply for this research infrastructure program. Okay, so that's for Europe. I didn't take much time because I know that not all from Europe. National funding. This completely depends on the country. So basically, if you work at university, ask for support from them, ask them what are the national programs available, and check nationally, but also regionally and locally, because there are some maybe opportunities at local level that you can get funds as well. I put just a couple of examples of the two main research programs in Spain. One is for the PhD, and the other one is to fund staff from academia that is teaching at universities. But you need to check country by country the national opportunities. And they put here private or other funding, which there are multiple options, no? And this comes from associations, foundations like the Safe Our Seas, NGOs, financial institutions, trusts. For example, the bank La Caixa in Spain, so they have grants for researchers. Then some research centers also provide some fellowship or grants. For example, the Irish Marine Institute or the Marine Stewardship Council specialize in aquaculture and fisheries. So there are a lot of opportunities from the private or other type of fundings that I will recommend you to be aware and to be updated.
Celia, I'm just going to jump in and say that the meeting is about to cut itself out. As I pre-warned you guys at the start, when it does, just re-click the link and we'll start off from where it's cut us off.
Okay, perfect. No worries. Okay, so yeah, just to be informed about all of these opportunities. At Blue Jobs, we have specifically one blog that we write some time ago, and it was listing funds, grants, opportunities for funding from different organizations and associations that is, I believe, is quite interesting. Okay, then we can move to the proposal writing. As I said, I will give some tips for writing, because otherwise it will take like one day workshop for just writing a proposal, right? So before writing the proposal, I think we need to go through different steps. The first one, which is very important, is to read carefully the instructions and requirements and ask yourself a few questions. What is the expertise needed? Is your CV up to it? Do you think you can apply with your CV, or if you're applying with a team of researchers, do you have enough experience about your idea or project? It is eligible for this call. Do I have a really good or innovative idea? Do I know how to do the work? Do I have the necessary infrastructure? Is there any incompatibility that I may have, maybe because you are a holder of another grant and you are not be allowed to have another funding sources, so you need to check that. What is the format and the process to apply for the grant? So all of these questions is important that you do to yourself before. This is very important, how the proposal is going to be evaluated. So basically, every time that you apply for a proposal, for funding, a grant, or whatever, you are going to have the instructions of how it's going to be evaluated. In this case, it's from Marie Curie Actions. And you can see that there is 3 main sections that they are going to evaluate: the excellence of the proposal, the impact, and the quality of the implementation. No? So the 50% of the weighting of is going to be to the excellence section. So I will start from this section and give a lot of efforts and importance, right? And you need to reply to each of the questions that they highlight in the evaluation sheet, right? This is another example from another call where they score for relevance, quality, and impact. So basically, the maximum score is 30. If you get in total less than 25 and 21, you are out. And then if you get more than 21, doesn't mean that you're going to get the fund. Basically, depending on the available fund, the highest score will get it. So in this case, they are giving the same relevance, the same score for relevance, quality, and impact. Let's have a look at relevance because they ask for clarity and consistency. They ask for how your proposal matches to the themes, priorities, objectives of the call, and contribution to the European Union goals. So this is really important. So that's why I explained the context of the blue economy in Europe and globally as well, because you need to justify how your proposal or your project is aligned with all these goals, right? Then you need to identify which are the needs or the challenge, why this project is important. Then in quality, you need to justify that the project is going to be cost effective, that is going to be possible in the time framework that you propose, how you're going to solve problems, and the impact. What is the impact of the proposal? Who are going to be the beneficiaries of this funding? So basically, you will need to reply these 3 sections, but in the proposal, it's important that you focus point by point. So the evaluator is going to have this information in one document, and it's okay. It's going to look for relevance. How is clarity and consistency? Yes, no. How it matches to the priorities, objectives of the call? Excellent, good. So basically, you need to reply to each of the requirements of each section. So this is quite important that you read it in advance before starting writing to know what is required. Then, if you need any clarification, because maybe you have some questions on how to write the proposal, on the format, on the timelines, whatever, make sure to ask the questions on time, because sometimes if the deadline is on the by the end of the month, maybe they only allowed to ask questions by mid-month. So basically, just try to ask the questions to clarify all the information, but on time, because otherwise, if it's too late, maybe they don't reply. Okay, this is another important thing to consider before start writing, which is the technology readiness level. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but this is a global term to define in which status is your research or your product or your services. So basically, if you have you are in the phase of doing some preliminary test or theoretical test on the concept validation, you are in the research part. If you already have a product that this has been tested or validated, maybe you're in the development stage. And if it's ready to be sold or to be in the market, it will be at the tier R 7, 8, 9. So it is very important that you understand if you are applying for a program that is focused on research, on really basic research, that means that your project needs to be on tier RL 1, 2, or 3. Otherwise, if your project is too advanced, you need to find another type of programs. So that's something to be checked. Obviously, the deadlines. It is very basic, but do you have enough time to prepare the proposal under the deadline? Because otherwise, I would recommend don't waste your time, because proposal writing is quite time consuming. Maybe you need to put these efforts in other things. So check deadlines and then decide if you apply or not to apply, right? Okay, so during the proposal, you need to demonstrate your knowledge on the topic. So basically, you need to do an introduction of, if you are speaking about, I don't know, growing some species of aquaculture, you need to provide a context of that you understand the aquaculture sector in this region or whatever. Make an analysis of the policy framework I will advise from global to local. So this is why I explained before the importance of understanding the regulatory framework related to the topic or the blue economy in general. Then it's really important to identify the needs, issues, and challenges, as I explained, why your project deserve to be funded. Is there any innovation aspect of your project? Is there any difference from other similar projects? So you need to explain that. And then capitalize the outcomes of previous works or research or studies. So basically, the European Commission and all of the funders, they don't want to duplicate projects or to duplicate funds. So basically not overlapping the same topics or funding the same things. So basically, go through the previous projects, the previous research, and use these outcomes. So they know, the evaluator will know that you understand the topic and also what it has been done before. Okay, it's important as well that you identify risk and mitigation measures. So for example, if there is another crisis with the coronavirus, or you are working with fishes, or you are working with whatever that may die, or whatever that you cannot travel, or you need to do some collaboration in a country where the political status is a bit unstable. So basically, you need to identify this risk and propose mitigation measures. Highlight inputs and outputs. So basically identify What sources of information are you going to need, including literature review? Do you need any lab studies? Do you need interviews to stakeholders, surveys? Everything needs to be clearly identified at the proposal stage. And what are going to be your outputs? So what is the project is going to produce that others can use? And for sure, even if it's not mentioned in the proposal instructions, make sure you consider key topics like the gender balance, zero discrimination, and how you are planning to reduce the carbon footprint in your project. So how you are going to organize events to reduce carbon footprint, how you're going to do the meetings, if you're going to travel. So all of these things needs to be explained in the proposal. Then we move, just one second. Okay, we move to demonstrate your experience. So basically, I've seen CVs with 20 pages, which is very difficult to read, and no one is going to read it, especially for researchers. So you need to adapt your CV to the specific call or program. If they are asking for many references, many publications, many participation in conference, okay, you can list it. But if it's another type of call, you may need to adapt your CV. Highlight the relevant skills. So your CV is going to be changed for each proposal. So you will need to adapt it for each one because you will need a different skills, no? Then use the correct template for the CV. Some of the programs, they ask for the specific template, and then you need to change it. And if you are working with different researchers or team members, I will advise to harmonize the template of CVs and send all of them in the same format. As I said, highlight the key expertise. If you can put a box or use bold or something that will highlight the skills needed for this program. Provide references, all the links to online publications, reports, if you appear in the news, in videos from YouTube, everything. You can put the links and it will be faster and easier for evaluators to see all of this information. So basically, make it easier to read and understand for the evaluator, and if possible, add a pen portrait. This pen portrait is what I put it here in a small corner. So pen portrait is a summary, a really small paragraph, just highlighting your experience on this specific topic. And this goes within the task, within the proposal. So it's easier to read. If they have any questions or they need more information, they will go through your CV. But at least they have this information very clearly. Okay, then you will need to fill in the financial proposal very quick. You need to check if there is a maximum budget for that. If there is any limitation on the budget, sometimes they only fund staff cost or they only fund travel. So you need to check the limitation on the budget lines. Apart from the staff cost, do you need to consider other costs? For example, travels, meetings, apply for visas, equipment, insurance, a lot of things that needs to be considered in this financial proposal. They may be covered or not by the funding call, but at least you need to consider. And of course, if you are going to do some field work or lab, or you need to do some lab test, you need also to put it here. On the timeline, basically, you will be providing a Gantt chart, most likely. So is the proposal feasible? All the work that you're proposing is feasible in the time frame? And also very important, have you allowed time to mitigate any potential risks. So, for example, if the project is 3 years long and you are proposing to submit the final results in the last month, if something happens, you won't have enough time for revision or to submit it again because the project has finished. So basically, you need to consider this time for potential risks. Okay, so before submitting the proposal, very basic, but it happens in all the proposal, check the typos. My advice is use also artificial intelligence tools. Why not? Basically, if you are not an English native speaker or you want to write in a more formal way, you can use it, but of course, you need to check the results and before put it in the proposal. Check the links, the references that they are working. Make sure to follow the submission process or the right format and the right time. Prepare yourself for a potential interview. So in some of the programs, after submitting the proposal, you need to do an interview with them when you will need to provide your insight, your views on the proposal, why it deserves to be funded. And then if they ask for clarification or information after the submission, be quick replying, because basically this evaluation process are quite quick. And so be quite fast replying to and providing further information. Okay, after. So if the proposal is rejected, ask for feedback, because you will learn a lot just reading the comments from the evaluators. This is not always possible, but if you have the chance, do it. If it's approved, congratulations, and I would propose to give the right visibility. So if you have a website or your university has a website, post it on social media, on the news, etc. So that will be good for your institution and also for your CV. Extra tips. Okay, so use previous proposals. So you will have a kind of a structure, and every time you will improve this structure, but do not start from scratch. So just use the resources that you have been working for the last months or the last years. Make sure that you are selling well your idea. So basically a proposal is like a marketing tool to sell something. So just thinking like that, like selling a product or a service, but the proposal has to be with this marketing approach. And basically think as if you were the evaluator. So each evaluator usually have like 1 hour, 2 hours to go through your proposal. So they don't have time to read it very in detail. So just avoid blah, 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 provide context, but go straight to the point, make it easier to read, add figures and tables if they are relevant, of course, for the topic, and if they are allowed. Sometimes they are not allowed to put it in the proposal. An answer very clear to what is requested by the call. Okay. At the European Commission level, but I am sure that at national level and in your countries, this is the same. They have like info days or training sessions that where the institution explains how to prepare a proposal. So my advice would be to use these free resources and learn how to prepare a proposal from the own institution. No? Also, this is more European Commission, but for each program there are what is called national contact points. So get in contact with them. They are like the representatives of the programs in your country. So get in contact with them, present your idea, say, hey, I got this idea. We have a research of a team of researchers, and then they can reply to you, proposing some suggestions, some funding calls. So this is quite interesting to get also visibility to your project idea or research team. If you can afford it, or your institution or the university can afford it, get professional support to help you to be success in the proposal writing. So basically you can hire a consultancy, an expert, or you can also receive some training to prepare proposals. That is in the case that you can afford this option. Okay, and before we finish, I just put some slides here because I think it could be interesting for the audience on becoming an evaluator of the European Commission. So basically, I'm part of this. There is a community of experts, a database of experts that they make work at the European Commission for some specific tasks. So some tasks as, for example, assessing applications, so basically evaluating proposals, monitor funding projects, so basically give your expertise, your advice on specific issues. So why I would recommend you to register as an evaluator, because there is an opportunity to evaluate these proposals, and you will learn a lot from the research and innovation programs. You are going to learn also how to write a good proposal, approach the methodology. So you will see different ways to write the proposal. Then this is an opportunity to improve your CV. It is highly estimated, evaluated when you put in your CV that you are an evaluator or an expert of the European Commission. Also, because of the money, basically this can help you to have like a extra salary. Usually it's around 500 euros per working day. And it's especially interesting because they are looking for women. In some sectors of the blue economy, like green shipping or ports, is still a male-dominant industry. So basically the evaluators usually are men. And the European Commission are looking also to have this balance. So they are looking for women. So just to explain you how this works, in case you are interested in registering, basically you register at the platform of the tenders and portal from the European Commission. You include all your personal data, information, expertise, education, languages, employment, etc. And then you have this list of keywords. You can add around 20 keywords that this is how they are going to search among this database of experts. So it's very important that you select the right keywords so the Commission can call you. How do you select these ones? Well, depending on your experience and depending also on the work programs. Basically, the work program is the document that provides information on the funding calls. So basically took from these work programs keywords and just put it here, and you will have more chances to be called. So just for you to know, for example, if you, it doesn't mean that they are going to call you if you are in the database. You can be in the database. In my case, I registered some years ago and I started evaluating last year. So it was like a few years waiting for having enough experience or for them to call me. So in this time that you're waiting, update your profile with your experience, with your publication and everything. And then if they call you, you will go through this evaluation process, which basically you receive a number of proposals. You do the individual evaluation. So basically you spend 1 or 2 full days at your home evaluating proposals. And then you have this consensus group meeting with other evaluators to decide which projects are going to be funded. So I think this is a very interesting opportunity for you to register and have this experience. And I believe this is all from my side. I don't know if you have questions. I know it's a lot of information. This is my contact email in case you have any questions or any potential collaborations. So please let me know if you have any questions. You can just put it on the chat, or you can just open your mic and ask. And thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, Celia. That was great. I'm sure we all really benefited from your insight. I think we probably have about 10 minutes left on this meeting. So obviously, if people have questions, then feel free to drop them in the chat or turn on your mic and ask away. Funds, grants, opportunities for funding from